Hi everyone, it's Dr. Lynn Love here. Today I'm going to be doing another Akashic download for you, a wisdom healing download for all of us during this moment right now. Today is going to be the full moon, so happy full moon if you're joining me here. And if you're joining me later, then you're going to be tuning into this energy, and I'm sure it's going to actually be applicable to what's going on in your life as well, because it's all connected. And we have been moving through a lot of things energetically. I know personally I have. And when I tuned into doing this, I felt that the most important things that are coming through is this message of community, this message of connection, and this message of also being truthful and exposing things, and really in a way that feels like you're revealing something, not like maybe there's something deep that needs to be exposed, but it almost feels like something that has been concealed for a really long time is going to actually be, there's going to be a potent energy to support that and coming up to the surface, because we have this full moon in Scorpio right now. Actually today and possibly tomorrow, if depending on where you're at in the world. But this is going to be a really potent energy to really come into your truth and really speak from a place that is vulnerable, and speak from a place that is that you're being open to something within yourself. And that is maybe an inner conversation that you're having with yourself. That is an inner conversation maybe you're having with other people. And this is just something that is coming up to the field that wants to be talked about, specifically on this day around this time, because it is the full moon in Scorpio. Scorpio is the water sign that goes deep, deep, deep into the depths. It's all about transformation and regeneration. There's a feeling here of regeneration as well. I was just actually watching a video about regeneration and regenerative medicine, and how looking at how different animals regenerate and how they take time to heal back and regenerate their tissues and their cells. Our bodies are constantly doing that as well. The earth is constantly doing that as well. Our bodies, every single part of our cells, they're either dying off and there's new cells being born all the time. There's this constant mechanism within ourselves that is creating new life and also allowing life to die off to make space for new. And so that is this regeneration that's happening within us. And so it goes along with this theme of the full moon so well, and that whatever needs to die off right now, whenever needs to theoretically die off, figuratively needs to be released out of our field, or some habit, behavior, pattern that maybe is like stored in our deep depths, like subconscious and psyche. Something in there needs to be offered up, so that way it can make space for the new to come in. And when thinking about, there was a really interesting part in that talk about regenerative medicine, in that it is often stimulated by the wounding. Let's talk about that. I opened up the Akashic records before I got into this session today, so this is going to be the beginning of the wisdom healing downloads. I want to thank you so much for joining me, and if you haven't, please subscribe to this so I can just share more of this to you and so many others. And yeah, just feeling called to bring out this self-healing medicine into the world, and also sharing some insights that I'm getting directly from my intuitive channel, Dr. Lynn Love, and all of my ancestors and the guidance that is here in supporting me in doing this. And today I'm going to actually be mixing this up, and I'm going to be incorporating Akashic astrology, because I recently just did an Akashic astrology reading with a client, and it was so powerful. It was powerful to be able to tune into this Akashic channel, this infinite records, this infinite library of someone's imprint, and also at the same time use astrology to support what's happening in their life and what's to come. Where I was going with this, we were talking into we were talking about regenerative medicine, and there was something that I learned within regenerative medicine in that they were talking about when a wound is made in the body, when there is a wound that happens, right? We get a cut on our finger, or maybe we scrape our knee, something like this. That is a wound that actually stimulates the immune system. The immune system is then going to send all the necessary biofactors, all of the necessary components that are needed to go to that place, to go to the site of injury, and bring healing to this area and cause tissue regeneration. Maybe there's clots that need to happen, maybe there's extra layers of platelets that need to come on. So there is this deep imprint of wound healing, right? That happens naturally in our body. And this is interesting because what's coming to me is that this is actually representing not only something that happens on the physical level, but also something that happens on the mental, emotional, and spiritual level. When eventually we have one of my friends who is really deep and steeped into permaculture told me that within permaculture, there is a theory, there is a saying that within the problem is the solution, and within the solution is the problem, right? It's intimately connected. They're interconnected, and you can't take them apart. And it's very similar to this in that when you have the injury, within the injury is the solution, right? There is something within the injury that tells the body, that tells nature, this is what we have to do next. This is the process that needs to happen next in order for us to learn the lessons, in order for us to continue to grow, in order for us to continue to put out things, like to continue to live our lives, right? If we get an injury, like a physical injury, and it doesn't teach us, maybe we went the wrong path or we tripped on a rock or something and scraped our knee, we are going to learn from that experience that, okay, maybe we pay attention a little bit closer to where we're stepping. There's things that we learn along the way during the process of healing. And when we bring that sort of wound healing process into the mental, emotional, spiritual realm, it's very similar. So I was sitting with anxiety just recently and just feeling like this frantic energy and just feeling like I needed to do something. And I had to take a moment and come back into, okay, well, what is it that I'm actually feeling? How can I support myself in this moment? How can I sit with this feeling that feels difficult and overwhelming, and also at the same time do it in a way that's constructive for myself and my body? And I had to sit, and I came to a point where I was thinking, there's something within this anxiety that's actually pointing me to the answer that I'm looking for. And what it was I had to reframe this energy and ask, what am I actually excited about? What am I excited to create, right? Anxiety in that case was me feeling a need to create something out of fear of something else. And that was really potent medicine for me to sit with, because I had to then come clear with, well, I want to create something because I'm fearful of something else. So how can I reframe that to say, I'm excited to create this thing because I genuinely love to do X, Y, and Z. And I also want to say that there was a lot of like conditioning, right, around that, like capitalist conditioning around that spoke to, I'm creating out of anxiety to create money because that's survival. When I reframed it into, I'm excited to create X, Y, and Z, it was out of enjoyment for me and a natural kind of process that I wanted, right? A natural process that I wanted to do. It was something that was fun. It's something that when we think about sustainability, right? Like how we sustain things that we want to do. It has to be fun. And this is one big thing that I'm receiving right now, especially with the full moon in Scorpio. It's going to be having a lot of conversation with fixed signs. So Taurus, Leos, Aquarius, and Scorpios. We're going to get a lot of conversation. I have a lot of Leo in my chart, so I'm feeling it really, really abundantly. And also, it's making me feel a lot of things about fun and joy and pleasure. And that's like having me confront the things that are actually blocking me from feeling and expressing and enjoying my life and doing the things that actually bring me joy rather than doing things that just I've been habitually taught and don't actually serve me. And so again, this full moon is very great for like coming to truth with yourself, because I've been doing a lot of that, especially with these last eclipses. And now we're transitioning into the eclipses. What wants to come through about that is there was a lot of layers that were taken off. It's almost like there's times of the year where we feel like the veils are more thin, like for example during Halloween, or during the end of the year, like during that time we feel like sort of this layer is taken off of the physical realm. And there is this ability to get in touch with the unseen in a way that feels like it's just natural. And I think maybe there's this feeling, and that's part of like the Scorpio-ness, where it has this energy of being connected to the unseen, to the taboo, to the depths, to the things that maybe people don't like talking about. And so there's maybe things here that in this time that came from the eclipses that need to be talked about, that need to be taken action on. And I think that's another big thing. I wrote about this in the monthly Mystic newsletter. If you feel free to subscribe, I talk about Chinese medicine, astrology. I do an I Ching reading every month in regards to every full moon. And it's really, really lots of fun for me. And I love providing all of that information. I'll share it in the show notes. But going deeper into, the things that we learned during the eclipse season, right now we're being asked to look at what those things that we learned, look at what was shed, look at the lessons that came out of that, maybe look at the revelations, the epiphanies that you had, and now think about how can you integrate that in your life? How can you integrate the lessons? What can you harvest from what you learned during that time? And how can you now integrate it into your life? And I also want to note something that's coming through the channel is that integration is something that goes slow. Integration is something that takes time. Like, for example, with our bodies, it takes just a moment. Like, sometimes I wish, this is something that I love to do, that I've like built into my own schedule, is like taking a moment every situation or event that I have to go to, every relationship or meeting that I have to do. I take a moment to just come back to my energy and just come back into, okay, what am I feeling? And what did I experience? And how can I process that on a cellular level? So that way I'm not left at the end of the day with like all of these things, and I have to like really sit with like a lot of integration, which takes time. And we can do that throughout the day, but it takes being able to, take some space for yourself and have practices such as like just coming back to your breath, breathing into the belly, holding your heart, holding any other place in your body that just like feels really good. And I really invite us coming back into the body, coming back into bringing it back to the soma, because this is really where we ground, coming back into our breath throughout our day. Is we get in touch with the body, we get in touch with where we are, where our our minds are, because our minds can often wander, and we bring ourselves back with our breath. And doing practices like these, of course, you can build your own personalized practice, which I totally recommend because it's personalized to you. It's what you like, right? You can even incorporate like aromatherapy, different essential oils that you like, different jewelry that you like wearing, different things that just anchor you into you, because that's important for this time that we're going through now when there's like a lot of energy moving. That was definitely things that I started to learn in this time, was like learning how to anchor myself in me. And that's something that's also coming through, is this level of authenticity that wants to come through. Especially with this full moon, there's like a layer being taken off of. There's like an extra deep layer that's going to be taken off, that's maybe going to rework your inner world, how you feel about something, maybe like a subconscious belief that comes up when you do some sort of deeper healing work. There's a deep layer that's coming off that can be really beneficial to well, I want to say your health, but also I want to say your health in general, like your mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, creative health, like all of these things. And that's another thing, is like what is also being rewritten that you've learned about, and something that is actually very, very connected to the work that you do. I know this is happening personally for me, in that I'm a doctor of Chinese medicine, and really having a lot of these downloads and these intuitions and these feelings within myself that are saying, modern medicine, allopathic medicine, westernized medicine is not the know-all be-all. And you know that, you understand that. It is a part of the solution, but it is not everything. And there is so much more that needs to be integrated, that needs to be told, the different stories that need to be told, and different techniques and tools and different theories need to be also brought to the table in order for us to receive so many different facets of healing, so much personalized healing that people are desiring in this moment. And that goes beyond what we know as just health and being physical health, but it includes mental, emotional, spiritual, creative, financial health. It's the whole package. It's the whole package. And I want to see if there's anything else that wants to come through the Akashic records, because I feel like I've been diving into the channel. What else? There's something that's coming through about the way we connect. Like, I just saw a vision of like a phone. The way we connect is going to change. Like, the way we feel connected to people is going to change. In many ways, we feel like phones have connected us more than ever, but actually phones have also separated us more than ever. And again, going back to where we started with this whole conversation, is in the wound, there is also a seed of the solution, right? There is a seed of the process of healing in place. Our body, when we experience a wound, that causes a cascade of different things to happen in our body, so that way we can heal this wound, right? And we can continue to create, and we can continue to be healthy and abundant and do our work that we're here to do in this lifetime. And when we experience something like a deep separation from our relationships, we feel that deeply. Specifically in Chinese medicine, we feel that in the heart space, because our heart is most connected to our fire, and our fire is what actually helps to spark relationships and helps to allow us to connect with people. And we feel emotions most deeply in our heart. That's where our consciousness is within Chinese medicine. It's our Shen, is going to be felt most deeply in the heart. And there's something to say here about technology and our phones, and the mechanisms in which we connect with people is changing. And we realize that we can create whatever feels most supportive to us. We can create the communities, the places, the spaces that feels most juicy to us, and that feels most fun and supportive. And that's also a very personalized thing. What else wants to come through about that? Yeah, there is something about peeling this layer, right? When we're talking about peeling a layer off of something for this full moon in Scorpio, it's sort of like we're peeling back a layer of illusion. Like there's an illusion that we've been sort of taught, or illusion we've sort of been told to abide by, but that's actually being lifted. And maybe it's the illusion of fear. Maybe there's an illusion of like judgment or scarcity that is actually being there's an opportunity to confront that, and there's an opportunity to see that wounding and see how it's been serving us. And also, when we do start to understand that, oh, that thing is there, right, and it has caused these wounds, that is actually when this cascade of healing can happen and continue to happen in our lifetimes. As we bring our awareness to certain situations, that then causes ripple effects of action to happen in our lives. And I want to see, before we come to a close today, man, time goes by fast. Anything else that wants to come through this channel for the full moon of Scorpio? So the full moon in Scorpio is going to go conjunct with Pluto. And this is another aspect of us going really deep, right? We're going to go really deep into areas that maybe feel very uncomfortable. So if you do feel like you do need to take some time and space, if you do feel like you need to go call a support system or a professional to support you, please listen to this call, and listen to yourself, and listen to that need for support, because that brings us back into connecting with others and this need for community. One thing I wrote about in the Monthly Mystic today was this need for community. And our body, our nervous systems are actually wired to be in community. And the reason for that being is because we have our vagus nerve. It's our longest nerve that goes into many parts of our body. It's responsible for getting us back into rest and digest mode. It's responsible for getting us to feel calm and relax, especially after stressful moments. It's a really useful nerve that helps to speak to our nervous system and speak to our body. There's different parts of this nerve. There is a frontal part, which is called the ventral vagus. This ventral vagus is specifically tied to social connection, play, and laughter. And when we are in those moments of friendship and we just feel like so deeply connected to people, and we feel very attuned and connected to, we're here together and we're very present together, that is going to stimulate the vagus nerve. And that aspect of your nervous system is the primary brake to major stressful moments. So when we can seek out support, when we can ask for help from our neighbors or from our friends or from our family, right? And that support is then honored. That's a really big deal. So I want you to think about the times and look back at the times where you did ask for support, or you going through a difficult situation, and someone in your life who means something to you, like, was there for you. And it can even be like an animal or an object, like your favorite rock or your favorite plant, or maybe your favorite place in nature. It can be it can be one of those things. But it's important to think back and recall those memories where that happened for you, because this is actually going to stimulate the ventral vagus nervous system, part of your nervous system, and it's going to be able to re-regulate your body, so that way you're not acting from a place of go, stress, and you don't feel so much tightness, right? And this need for kind of this really fast pace going, because when we are in this mode of fast pace, then it's difficult to integrate, and it's difficult to sit with what we're experiencing and what we're feeling in the moment. And so I want to give you so much thanks and gratitude for joining me here on this Wisdom Healing Downloads. I'm going to be continuing on sharing these because it is just part of my joy to bring in this knowledge. I'll continue sharing about the Akashic astrology as well. And if you have any questions, if you feel like you resonated with anything, please share below in the comments. I'd love to hear about your experience. And I also want to just send you a lot of blessings wherever you are. And I will talk to you in the next video. Bye for now.